Good evening and welcome to the 62nd Annual Western Heritage Awards. Please welcome the President and CEO of the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, Pat Fitzgerald, and Chairman of the Board of Directors, Jerry Winchester.
Good evening. I am so grateful to welcome you to this celebration. Tonight, we conclude this weekend of festivities by honoring individuals who have dedicated their artistic talents in music, film, literature, and television to bring to life the traditions and stories of the American West.
Through the support of our generous sponsors and museum partners, we're able to continue celebrating our heritage and its preservation on this grand scale. We thank you for joining us in our mission of preserving the great American West.
Please hold your applause until all our sponsors have been recognized. Thank you to our presenting sponsor, Honoring the Legacy Campaign for the National Western Stock Show. We also thank our major sponsors, Bob Funk Sr. and Express Ranches, Herman and LaDonna Minders, and the Chickasaw Nation.
We also appreciate our supporting sponsors, Lenny and Linda Sadler and with Cheyenne Station Ranch, Mike and Sheila Ingram and Eldorado Holdings, Monty Carroll Montgomery Living Trust and the Mary Elizabeth Haley Thompson Foundation, and Arvest Bank. A special thank you to our museum partners, Devon Energy Corporation and the E.L. and Thelma Gaylord Foundation.
We are also grateful to our museum board of directors, specifically the Western Heritage Committee, for their leadership. Will all of our board of directors please stand to be recognized? We now invite everyone to please stand for the singing of our national anthem by Wrangler Award winner Adrian Brannon, and remain standing for tonight's invocation delivered by board member and two-time Wrangler Award winner Lincoln Lageson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light, once so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Good evening. May I invite you to please remove your hats and bow your heads as we give thanks and pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for the many ways you have blessed us on this day and every day of our lives. You have given us the pleasure of gathering together with family and friends on this special occasion as we celebrate those who endeavor to preserve and perpetuate our Western way of life. Father, we ask that you please protect our brave servicemen and women who are defending our country and our people, both stateside and abroad, as we pray for peace throughout the world. Father, may we also ask that you keep your loving and watchful eye over the farmers and ranchers who feed our nation and the world. For all that you have bestowed upon us, in your name, we give you thanks and pray. Amen.
Thank you, Adrian and Lincoln. Please enjoy the company at your table as dinner is served and our program will resume shortly.
If you're watching on the Wrangler Network, the program will resume at 7 p.m. Enjoy your dinner.
Please welcome Western Heritage Committee Chairman, Gordon Whitener.
Good evening. Tonight we celebrate our honorees and inductees who share the great stories of the American West. And on behalf of the Western Heritage Committee, I want to thank them for their time, dedication, and talents that help make this the premier Western award show in the country. Thank you. Before we continue tonight's program, I want to recognize an individual whose efforts made this show what it is today. Wyatt McCray, would you please join me on stage? Wyatt led this event for 10 years through some amazing years. Some of the recent inductees have included George Strait, Robert Duvall, Kurt Russell, and Kevin Costner. He put this event on the map, and tonight's quality inductees and sold-out crowd are a testimony to his vision and hard work. I am confident that I speak for the entire board when I say that Wyatt is the perfect example of what the Cowboy represents. So Wyatt, on behalf of this fine museum, the Board of Directors, and most especially the Western Heritage Committee, please accept this special engraved bowl and buckle for our appreciation and recognition of your effort and dedication to this prestigious event. Thank you, Wyatt.
Oh my gosh, I wasn't expecting this at all. All I can say is I want to thank the board that helped support this through all the years. The staff is really the one that drive this event, and without the staff, we couldn't have done any of this. And I'm taken aback by this whole thing. I'm surprised by it, and I really appreciate all that everybody has done in this room to support the event financially or however else that you have over the years. And all the past inductees, I thank you for being a part of it. All the honorees in the room. So just thank you. I really appreciate this. This is a huge surprise, but I'm very honored. Thank you very much.
I have the privilege now of introducing our MC for the evening. He's an actor, a horse stuntman, rancher, former Wrangler winner, and above all, an advocate for the Lakota community. He's worked in the entertainment industry for 15 years and is most known for his role as Mo in the television series Yellowstone. When Mo isn't working as an actor, he can be found ranching or seeking ways to give back to the community. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome for his return, Mo Brings Plenty.
Wow, good evening. How's everyone doing tonight? Come on, how's everyone doing tonight? I am so honored to be here, back here again this year. As we pay tribute to significant contributions to Western heritage and celebrate our exceptional honorees and inductees. Each literature, music, film, and television winner is decided by independent judges and will receive the prestigious Wrangler Award an impressive bronze statue created by the renowned artist Harold T. Holden. The Wrangler symbolizes the determination, persistence, and pride it takes to preserve the American West. Assisting with us with tonight's award presentation is Miss Rodeo Oklahoma 2023, Allie Baker. Music is a universal language that sparks our emotion and can make us happy, sad, angry, and nostalgic. And sometimes all at the same time, just like Beth Dutton. I better be careful. She's a tornado and I'm the trailer park. We began our show tonight with the music categories. Joining us to present these awards, please welcome Wrangler Award winner and Miss Buckaroo Cowgirl, Adrienne Brannon, and the artist and entertainer, Dan Miller.
Good evening. Tonight's first musical award is Outstanding Traditional Western Music Album, sponsored by the Monte Carlo Montgomery Living Trust.
This year's winning album includes original and cover songs and is a cinematic collection of songs of the American West, traditional and new, canyon deep, prairie wide, and clear as a Rocky Mountain stream.
We are pleased to present the Outstanding Traditional Western Music Album 2, Westbound. And accepting the award is artist and composer Mickey Furman. Mickey?
I have a bit of a sore throat, so I'm going to lean in. My humble thanks to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for honoring what's my love letter to Western music, written over the course of my whole lifetime. I was a teenager when I wrote one of the songs for my Oklahoma-born grandfather, and one song was finished 48 hours before the recording session. Many creative souls contributed to the making of this album. I was blessed to have some of Nashville's finest session musicians who loaned their talent and their hearts to Westbound. And I believe you can hear that heart difference. The finished product wouldn't be what it is without the vision and the arrangements of my dear producer, Ron Oates, who couldn't be here tonight. I do appreciate the dear friends I have in this beautiful room with me. My family, my daughter Hannah is representing them tonight. And I thank my family for letting Mom, at long last, return to writing and recording and hitting the road to play a little music. Receiving the Wrangler Award is far beyond anything I ever dreamed. Thank you so much.
Our next Wrangler Award is for Outstanding Original Western Composition, sponsored by Hughes Cattle Company.
I'm looking forward to this. From the album Road Beyond the View, this father and son duo wrote, produced, and performed this winning song.
The Wrangler for the original Western composition is awarded to Blues for 66, and here to accept the award and perform live is Michael Martin Murphy and Ryan Murphy.
Yes. Yeah.
Thank you. This song was inspired by the greatest road in the history of America, Route 66. And a big, significant portion of it's been preserved by the state of Oklahoma. You should check it out. And for those of you who are too young to remember Route 66, I'm sorry you missed it. I'm headed for Springfield, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, Amarillo, Albuquerque, and Winslow. chasing Studebakers, Thunderbirds, Navajos and grazing herds, Ashfork and Seligman and Ludlow. We'll hit Pasadena, she'll be looking pretty. Maybe she'll become one of those Hollywood chicks. We'll be feeling just like movie stars, cruising Sunset Strip in hot rod cars, singing the blues for 66. I'm so thankful, thankful for this mother road. Got to drive it till I find my mother low. Put me in a postcard with an Arizona sunset, with a jackalope or some fur-bearing trout. I'm gonna live out on the open road, burgers and pie a la mode. So long, I-40, this guy's bugging out. Evening shadows with a rockin' 66 diner. Tucumcari always seemed pretty nice to me. Roswell's got the UFOs, scientists in Los Alamos. I'd rather tour with dinosaurs and chiefs. So thankful, thankful for this mother road. Got to drive it till I find my mother low. Like a GI dude headed home for Christmas. Like the James Dean and the Marlon Brando flicks. I got a leather jacket, warm cafe, don't wanna go home anyway. I got the blues for 66. Give me the mother road to swing and beat out on America's Main Street. I got the blues for 66. Thank you, everyone. I've won many Wrangler Awards, and I treasure every single one of them, especially the Lifetime Achievement Award. And I thought when I got the Lifetime Achievement Award, it was all over, and I'd never get another one. Thank you for confirming that life goes on for me. I'm going to turn the rest of this speech over to my son, Ryan, who was unbelievably strong in helping me to get through COVID. We made a whole album and wrote all the songs for Road Beyond the View during COVID. Here he is. This is Ryan Murphy, my son.
Thank you, Dad. We'd like to thank the National Cowboy Hall of Fame and Western Heritage Awards for this prestigious honor. I also want to thank two of my best friends, my wife, Francie, for believing in my songs, and to my dad for being the best co-writer anyone could ever ask for. I also want to thank my mom and my daughters, Ellie and Fiona. We'd also like to thank Cindy Murphy, who genuinely enjoys listening to us practice singing and picking guitars well into the midnight hours. I'd also like to thank our manager, James Hodgen, and our sound engineer, Keith Compton. To be recognized by this organization is special to us because we've always loved Western music, Western films, and Western heritage. The seed of Blues for 66 was originally inspired by the book, The Mother Road, by Michael Wallace, and the finished version served as the catalyst for our Road Beyond the View album, which is a rambling tribute to our beloved Southwest. It's a serendipitous feeling to stand here the same night that one of my main musical inspirations, Bob Wills, is also being recognized. Alongside of one of my songwriting heroes, Michael Martin Murphy. Thank you. Thanks to everyone who has supported us along the way and who loves and lives the Western way of life every day. Thank you.
Well, I know it must be a very, very special moment for this duo to earn this award. Congratulations once again, gentlemen. You deserve it. Let's give them another round of applause.
Sponsored by A.J. and Susan Jakes, the Chester A. Reynolds Award, named for the museum's founder, promotes honesty, humility, and integrity.
Our honoree knew that he wanted to be a cowboy the moment that his father put a cowboy hat on his head and gave him a pair of boots. As a young man, he fell in love with horse training, and it led to a very rewarding and varied career. Let's learn a little bit more about our reward recipient tonight.
Bobby Ingersoll started his show career at the age of 12 and found his passion. He became interested in the ways of the Spanish vaquero and their horse training methods. It was about time, patience, and knowing the equipment to use to preserve the horse for a later age. At the age of 15, he won the award of Top Western Boy from the Western Horsemanship of California. Just 2 years later, he trained his first hackamore horse and won the hackamore class at Clement Stampede the first time he showed him. In 1958, he went to work training and showing American quarter horses. He has 22 American quarter horse championships to his credit, along with champions of many different breeds. In 1970, Bobby formed the World's Championship Snaffle Bit Futurity in the CRCHA. Some of his career highlights are winning the Snaffle Bit Futurity 3 times, winning the Triple Crown in 1975, and winning the LA and the Northwestern Cutting Futurities. Bobby has shown 105 3-year-olds in the Snaffle Bit Futurity over 43 years and won money on all but 16 of them. His lifetime NCHA earnings are $350,000. The working cow horse discipline is among the hardest of all Western events because of the versatility required. The Snaffle Bit Futurity has made the reined cow horse the most prestigious of all Western disciplines. To keep this tradition alive, Bobby wrote a book called The Legendary California Hackamore and Stock Course. Bobby has conducted clinics and judges many shows all over the world. At 83 years old, he still trains and instructs riders on a regular basis.
We are honored to present the Chester A. Reynolds Award to Bobby Ingersoll. Yes.
Oh, this is quite an honor for a cowboy. You know, I would just like to thank you all for being here. I would like to thank my personal friends that have traveled far, taken the time to be with me with this prestigious award. Also with me, I have an association that has meant so much to me in my life, the National Reined Cow Horse Association. They're with me here tonight with their staff, their members, and some million-dollar riders that if you ever saw them ride, you need to take the time. They do outstanding things with the horse. You know, I'd like to have a special thank you to many people that has made this a special time for my life. You know, I've had a lot of good rides of horseback in my life. But tonight, I'd have to say, this has to be my best ride. You know, I'm so honored tonight to accept this prestigious award, this Chester A. Reynolds Award. I owe so many people and good horses for making this day a special time of my life that I'll never forget. You know, I became very interested in training and showing horses, which became a passion for me. With my horses, they have taught me so much about understanding them and setting a program to advance them in their training. Some people call me a horse trainer. I would rather just be called a horseman who is skilled in his riding, and he loves his horses, and a man of tradition in the Spanish vaquero training. I thank you all for this evening and this award.
Please welcome to the stage the Commissioner and CEO of Professional Bull Riders, Sean Gleason.
What an honor to be here tonight. Sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Gordon Whitener, this outstanding nonfiction book showcases the vivid journey into professional bull riding, a sport celebrating toughness, courage, faith, and family. From the comeback story of a lifetime to the men and women caring for marvelous animal athletes, the book takes you inside the lives of the people who love the sport and their passion that has made bull riding one of America's greatest pastimes. For outstanding nonfiction book, I am pleased to present this Wrangler, To Love and Try, Stories of Gratitude and Grit from the Professional Bull Riders, by Andrew G. Angola, who happens to be the only man receiving a Wrangler that lives in a 500 square foot apartment in Manhattan.
It's Brooklyn, but it's about as small. I would have brought my guitar, but I'd have to go buy it and learn to play it first. In English class, I'd scribble nonsense all over my desk. Now, rather than dole out discipline, the teacher would put out a fresh piece of oak tag, instigating more of my ridiculous musings. So thank you, Mr. Tom Hackett, for your encouragement to write. And thank you, Sean, for your generous comments, introduction, and support of Love and Try. I'm so very grateful to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for this wonderful honor and this weekend in Oklahoma City. To my dear wife, Malvina, for sharing the moment, to Cedar Gate Publishing for producing such a beautiful book, as beautiful as Malvina, and each of you joining this celebration. I get to take back to Brooklyn this kick-ass Wrangler. But by rights, it's the property of every gritty, gracious person covered in Love and Try, as well as anyone who's ever wrapped a hand in a bull rope in a curious, courageous, completely crazy attempt to stay on that bull underneath for 8 very long seconds. Now, in a better world, recognition for a book celebrating values like cowboy heart, determination, and untoxic masculinity wouldn't be confined to gatherings like this. Our world is far from perfect, but thankfully, buoyed by the love and try of everyone living the Western way, we're moving in the right direction. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for honoring this book, this labor of love and respect, and God bless each and every one of you. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage singer-songwriter Finus Smith and museum board member and granddaughter of the great John Wayne, Anita LaCava Swift.
Our next award is for Outstanding Western Novel and is sponsored by NBC Oklahoma. The novel tells the story of Tam, a 50-year-old woman that returns to Montana's Big Snowy Mountains where she grew up to ponder the choices she has made in her life. She becomes increasingly involved in the lives of 2 troubled teenagers who draw her back into horsemanship she turned away from so many years ago.
The Wrangler for Outstanding Western Novel goes to Think of Horses, a novel by Mary Clearman Blue.
Thank you for this Wrangler Award. It is such an honor to be back here again. I was awarded my previous Wrangler back in 2012. I'd like to acknowledge my granddaughter, Maya, a teenager who is a character in this novel. And I want to thank everyone who has made this possible. Thank you.
Sponsored by Kathy Keating, Lynn Fries, and Judy Hatfield. On behalf of the Annie Oakley Society, the Outstanding Juvenile Book Award recognizes literary work within a Western theme written for young readers. As a sequel, Randy is back to round up her fellow creatures to put on her very own Wild West show, and critters from every rock, den, and tree are lining up to audition. From rope stunts to high jumps and aerial tricks to climbing competitions, this cowgirl show has a lot.
This charming children's book reimagines the Wild West as a place of opportunity and adventure for all creatures. Young readers take away key lessons from this tale, including fearlessness and determination. The Outstanding Juvenile Book Wrangler goes to Rowdy Randy Wild West Show, written by Casey Risloff and illustrated by Zachary Pullen.
Thanks, everybody, for having us. Casey and I would like to thank the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum and everyone affiliated for recognizing our book. We'd also like to recognize our families for their love and support, as well as the team at Bookbridge Press. The publishing industry is like the Wild West right now, and our independently published book is an outlaw in that rugged landscape. We are very proud of the work that it takes to bring a book like ours into existence. In a world of giant publishers, we're proud to be outlaws and doing what has to be done. As a team, we aim to create stories that at their core highlight the West and our appreciation of the culture that we were raised in. So thank you, and we'll treasure this forever. Appreciate it.
Presenting our next awards, please welcome philanthropist, entrepreneur, and board member Mike Ingram, along with businessman and board member Gary Kinslow.
Our next award is the Lifetime Achievement Award, sponsored by Mike and Sheila Ingram and Eldorado Holdings.
And Gary and Deborah Kinslow. The honoree in this category receives not only the coveted Wrangler Award, but also a custom-made belt buckle created by the Traditional Cowboy Artists Association member, Bo Compton, sponsored by Nadine and Alan Oveen. Helping with the presentation of tonight's award from the Traditional Cowboy Artists Association is President Scott Hardy.
From bull rider to music industry executive, radio and TV personality, actor, poet, singer, songwriter, this year's Lifetime Achievement recipient career has covered a period of over 50 years and has spanned the globe.
Yes, Red is continuing to build upon his legacy by developing and participating in the Red Steagall Institute for Traditional Western Arts at the campus of Texas Tech University in Lubbock, Texas. And also want you to look for his new book that'll be out in a few months. Let's take a look at the life of Red Steagall.
Russell Red Steagall was born in Gainesville, Texas, but grew up in a small oil field town in the panhandle of Texas. When he was 15 years old, he was stricken with polio, which rendered his left shoulder, arm, and his hand completely useless. Well, his school teacher mama realized something had to be done, so she bought a used mandolin for $10, paying it out $1 a month, and Red took lessons, concentrating on strengthening one finger at a time until he could play the instrument. Later, she and Red together bought a guitar, paying it out as well. When he left home for college, he got out on the side of the highway with one suitcase and his guitar and hitchhiked to Canyon, Texas, where he enrolled in West Texas State College, now known as West Texas A&M University. While in college, Red formed a 5-piece band that played a dance somewhere almost every weekend. They charged $5 for the evening. That meant $1 apiece. And man, they thought they were getting rich. After graduation, he moved to California and joined a couple of friends from high school. And with one of those friends, he co-wrote Here We Go Again, which was first recorded by Ray Charles, and later on, 67 others. Red continued to write songs and then began recording. He formed a band called the Coleman County Cowboys and traveled all over the West, performing in shows and playing dances, and performed at all the major rodeos in the country, the pinnacle of which was the National Finals Rodeo. In 1985, when country music changed, Red changed too. He began writing cowboy poetry and cowboy songs, with his music emphasizing the Western lifestyle that he loves. 32 years ago, he helped form the Red Steagall Cowboy Gathering and Western Swing Festival at the Stockyards in Fort Worth, an event that promotes the cowboy and the cowboy way of life. 30 years ago, he began producing an hour-long radio show, Cowboy Corner, with its emphasis on the Western lifestyle and keeping that lifestyle alive. That show is still aired weekly on 145 stations across the country. 15 years ago, he began a weekly television show called In the Bunkhouse with Red Steagall. Well, that show became the weekly television show Red Steagall is Somewhere West of Wall Street, which tonight won its 5th Western Heritage Award. Red has won 14 Western Heritage Awards for his music, poetry, and television show. He is the official cowboy poet of Texas, and in 2006 was named Poet Laureate of Texas. He was inducted into the Texas Cowboy Hall of Fame and received the Golden Spur Award from the National Ranching Heritage Center. Here at the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, he was inducted into the Hall of Great Westerners. Tonight, he will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. Congratulations to my good friend, Red Steagall.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Let me tell you, while unable to join us tonight in person, another individual wanted to send their regards to our honoree. Would you please roll the tape? Let's look at this video.
Red, congratulations. I am so happy and so proud of you getting this award tonight. You deserve it. I wish I was there to hug your neck in person, but please know that I'm sending you lots of love and the biggest congratulations ever. Love you with all my heart. Have fun.
All right, at this point, Dan Roberts and the rest of you Reds Rangers, our captain has been honored tonight. We need to recognize him because he is our Lifetime Achievement Award winner. Now, those of you that are watching the Wrangler Network, I want you also, wherever you're at, to join us in welcoming Red Steagall to the stage.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. It's a mind-boggling thing. You know, sometimes early in life you choose what you want to do with your life, and you don't have any idea how it's going to turn out. It has peaks and valleys. One day you discover that you're really on the right track and you put everything you have into it to make it work. That happened to me a couple of times. A couple of times it didn't work. But I am the most blessed human being on the face of this earth because I've been able to do exactly what I wanted to do the way I wanted to do it my entire life. And I can't accept this from me. Every single part of it has had partners. All of my life it's had partners. To begin with, my parents, especially my dear, dear mother, who made me believe I could accomplish anything I wanted to. She had 6 kids, and every one of us thought we were her favorite. And the most important thing she did for all of us was teach us to talk and spell properly. She believed that that was one of the main things that developed confidence in a person. So as life has gone on, I can't tell you how many times I stopped during the day and I say, would Mother approve of that? Even at 84 years of age, I still think about how she would look at it, whether she would approve of it. My siblings are here tonight, the ones that are left. We lost my brother Carol a couple of years ago, but my brother Barry and his wife Barbara are here. My brother David and his wife Nancy, my brother Danny and his wife Sheila, and my prettiest sister, my smartest sister, and my only sister, Sue Ann Williams, the crown jewel in our lives, all of us. I like to say that we had 5 brothers and every one of us had 1 sister. But tonight, I'm so proud that some of my nieces and nephews are here and my siblings are here to help me receive this honor and know that I'm in good hands because I'm in the hands of the folks who love me and I love the most. A room this big full of friends. My goodness, it is so wonderful to see all of you. And my beloved son and his wife Deborah are here, all the way from California. We're getting them in Texas pretty quick, though. And there's a lady that is definitely the love of my life. My entire world revolves around Gail. We've been married for 46 years, but we've been best friends for about 56 years. And she determines every single attitude I have. She's my best friend. She's my life mate. She's my soul mate. And I love her with all my heart and soul. The Red Rangers, the group of guys we got together just to go out on history tours, learn a little bit about this great country that we love, and especially the native people and the cowboys. And there's 30 of them here tonight. That's about all there is of them. But we have had the most wonderful times, and we're going to the great state of Kentucky this year. My TV crew is here, and I'll introduce you to them in a little while because we're going to get another award for our television show. Sean Studer is here representing our radio show, Cowboy Corner. We've been on the air for 30 years across this great nation, talking to people about the Western way of life, doing cowboy poetry, playing songs, and talking about the West. And all those musicians that have recorded with me all through all these years and traveled with me on the road. And for about 20 years, we were on the road 250 days a year. Michael can tell you about that. It's a tough life, but we didn't know that when we were young. We thought we were carpenters. We had to have a saw and a hammer. That translates to a band and a bus. And then my friend and partner in the television show, Greg Brown and Brandy, I've had an article in the Cowboys and Indians magazine for several years, and there are people who buy the magazine and only read my page. They tell me that. And I'm going to believe them. And this museum, this unbelievable institution that preserves our history and our heritage and our traditions and helps us understand the values that we live by. This is bricks and mortar and wood. The people who provide the inspiration for the art that keeps the image of the West alive. Nobody does it better than the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum and Hall of Fame. Most of all, every one of you, thank you so much for being here, and I want to give solemn thanks to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for allowing this all to happen. Thank you, I love you.
Give him another round of applause. It's through our actions of today that will leave tomorrow's legacy. Capturing a single moment can impact the generations after us. That is what we are celebrating tonight. Joining us to honor our next recipients, please welcome four-time Wrangler Award-winning singer-songwriter and Chester A. Reynolds Award recipient, R.W. Hampton, and fellow artist and two-time Wrangler Award recipient, Mary Kay.
Thank you, Mo. I feel like Dean Martin. Who let all these people in my room anyway?
Our next Wrangler Award, sponsored by Rod Moore Financial, is presented for the Outstanding Photography Book. Ranchland Wagon Hound is a photographic deep dive into the private world of Wagon Hound, one of America's largest historic ranches, which spans over 300,000 acres of spectacular and rugged Wyoming terrain.
The beautiful photography reveals the daily and seasonal rhythms of the ranch and the daily lives of its men and women cowboys, whose long, hard days involve everything from cattle driving to branding to training the best quarter horses in the country and more. Congratulations to the Outstanding Photography Book winner, Ranchland Wagon Hound. And to accept the Wrangler, please welcome Anouk Krantz.
Thank you. This is incredibly exciting. I'm a French woman living an American dream here. Thank you to the Cowboy, to my family, and what I call my new extended family, which is all of you right here. And to the cowboys and people and ranchers across this country who breathe and bleed the American West. For the last 5 years, you have all helped me bring to life the virtues of the authentic American cowboy. And the world has taken notice. It takes courage to open your doors to an outsider and to welcome her into your lives. I don't know if I would do it. So it was a true privilege to photograph the majestic beauty of Wagon Hound in Wyoming. And I'll never forget my first time visiting and making the turn of the paved road towards the unknown. Here started a long drive on a windy dirt road that rivals the Scottish Highlands straight out of James Bond's Skyfall. I found myself standing alone in front of a vast expanse of ranch land. And at home in New York, I feel empowered and in control, part of the hustle and bustle of a fast-paced life and woven into the fabric of a mighty civilization. But To stand here at Wagon Hound, exposed to the elements of the grand skill of the American West, is to be humbled. And over the next 2 years, I rode alongside Wagon Hound's cowboys, working from dark to dark and capturing their daily lives through heat, historic blizzards, dust storms, and sleeping in close-pitched teepees far in the mountains. I saw firsthand their pride in their work, their love for the land and the animals, and the importance of self-reliance, sacrifice, hard work, and gratitude. These great enduring values of the cowboy continue to represent one of the foundational pillars of this great country that is America, and are an inspiration and strength for people around the world, now more than ever. Thank you.
Mary, it is so good to be with you here tonight.
It's a pleasure, R.W.
We practiced that, didn't we?
We
That was
did.
Good. You know, I'm just remembered now, my high school English teacher, her name was Viola Terwilliger.
Terwilliger?
She said that I would never make it big. But nearest I can figure, I'm about 15 feet tall up there. So that's for you, Miss Viola Terwilliger. But no, it's great to be here with you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the finest voices in any kind of music. We claim her in Western music, but jazz, pop, whatever, and she can sing the Paul Huska phone book if you wanted to. So.
Thank you, R.W.
I had to get that out. Our first induction into the museum's Hall of Great Westerners this evening is sponsored by my dear friends Lenny and Linda Sadler with the Cheyenne Station Ranch.
Daniel Webster, 80 John Wallace, was a self-made success who had an indomitable spirit and drive that led to amazing achievements despite all the odds stacked against him. Born to enslaved parents, he would eventually become one of the most accomplished ranchers of his time. Let's take a look at his life story.
Daniel Webster 80 John Wallace was born into slavery in coastal Victoria County on the Gulf of Mexico in 1860, as the country embarked on the bloodiest war in its history. At the age of 15, he talked his way to working local cattle drives as a chuck wagon helper and horse wrangler. He quickly mastered the skills and duties of trail-driving cowboy, braving harrowing adventures and never failing to return a single penny of earnings. In 1885, young Wallace went to work for well-known cattleman Clay Mann, whose extensive holdings in Texas, New Mexico, and Old Mexico, including his Bovito Ranch, later sold to William Randolph Hearst. Over time, Wallace became Mann's most trusted hand, and it was branding Mann's cattle with a large 80 on one side that gave Wallace his nickname of 80 John. Their friendship fostered Wallace's ultimate dream, becoming a landowning, true Texas cattleman. He was a natural-born leader, a rugged individualist who led by example with passion, work ethic, and progressive business practices. On his passing at age 79 in 1939, he had no debt and was worth over $1 million. Wallace and his wife, Laura D. Wallace, were a beautiful thread in the tapestry of the American West, reflecting courage and achievement. They are buried on the first section of land they acquired, nearby the homes they built for their family. There is a Texas state historical marker on the ranch, and their descendants still live on and run the family's Mitchell County Ranch today.
Accepting the award on behalf of 80 John is his great-granddaughter, Daphne Fowler.
Good evening. We made it, y'all. On behalf of the descendants of Daniel Webster Wallace, we would like to thank you for this honor and appreciate the acknowledge of him as a distinguished man of color who helped to pioneer West Texas. He had a dream of cowboy adventure and ranching success, thus leading him to pursue this life wholeheartedly. From humble beginnings to great success, he was a devoted family man, cattleman, and still a legendary Texan. As a family, we continue to follow the path he carved out for us with great pride, and we are diligent in continuing his legacy. Thank you.
Please welcome Cowboy poet and three-time Wrangler Award winner, Waddy Mitchell, and board member, entrepreneur, and great-granddaughter of Oklahoma's favorite son, Will Rogers, Jennifer Rogers Echeverry.
Hello, Oklahoma! Sponsored by Lance and Linda Benham, our next award is for Outstanding Magazine Article. Texas Jack Takes an Encore explores the fascinating life of John B. Omohundro, better known as Texas Jack. Texas Jack was the first cowboy to rise to a place of prominence in America and was the first to incorporate the trappings of the cowboy lifestyle into a stage performance.
Texas Jack was inducted into the museum's Hall of Great Western Performers in 1994 and remains the earliest born person to be honored. The Wrangler for Outstanding Magazine Article is awarded to Texas Jack Takes an Encore by Matthew Kearns.
Thank you. Thank you for the honor of this award. I'd like to thank my wife, Jamie, my parents, Bill and Lisa, and my children, who all listen to their fair share of Texas Jack stories from me. I'd like to thank the Texas Jack Association, True Dot, who published my book, and Greg and David from Wild West magazine. Texas Jack Omohundro, who was inducted into the Hall of Great Western Performers in 1994, was the man who made cowboys famous. Back when it was still an insult to call a man a cowboy, he donned his Stetson, his cavalry boots, and his fringed buckskins with his pal and pard, Buffalo Bill Cody, and they launched the first of what would become Wild West shows. He stood as equals with Buffalo Bill, with Wild Bill, with Doc Carver, and many other men whose names would be remembered well beyond his own. He married the world's most famous dancer, a La Scala-trained Italian ballerina named Giuseppina Morlacchi, who introduced the scandalous can-can dance to America. Without Texas Jack, to make the Cowboys famous, we wouldn't be here tonight, at least not at the Cowboy Museum. That's in general. In specific, of course, I wouldn't be here if I hadn't had Texas Jack to write about, and our presenter, Jennifer Rogers, wouldn't be here either. When Texas Jack was a working cowboy, he rescued a young boy who'd been taken captive by Comanche after his parents were killed in a raid. He took that boy to Abilene and paid for his schooling. The boy was so young, he didn't remember his given name, so he just started calling himself Texas Jack Jr. after the man that had saved him. When Texas Jack died, Jr. decided he also wanted to be a cowboy performer like his benefactor had. He was running a Wild West show in Ladysmith, South Africa in 1908 when a young Oklahoman approached to ask Jr. if he had any jobs for a cowboy. Jr. hired the man on the spot as a trick roper, and that was Will Rogers' first job in show business. That's the impact of just one cowboy, America's first cowboy star, Texas Jack. And I very much appreciate the opportunity to tell his story and the great honor that this award represents. Thank you all very much.
Our next literary award is sponsored by Dr. and Mrs. Billy Bergen. It recognizes the outstanding poetry book, Last Red Dirt Embrace, recalls the author's return to the red dirt of his rural Oklahoma upbringing to visit his dying mother. During his visit, he reminisces about his raising, his capturing not only the nuances in their relationship, but also the beauty and social culture of his Western homeland.
For Outstanding Poetry Book, Last Red Dirt Embrace, we present this Wrangler to W.K. Stratton.
Good evening. I'm grateful to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for this honor. I was born and raised about 30 miles north of here in Guthrie, Oklahoma. And as a kid, I watched this magnificent facility being built. So a bronze Wrangler has special resonance for me. I want to thank my Guthrie High School riding mentor, Kenny Walter, who continues to support my career, as well as my Cheyenne dog soldier brother, Lance Henson, who was the first published poet I ever met. I'm thankful to my Comanche family, especially my brother, Billy Comachete, as well as Gene Sovo, Mike Burgess, and Quanah Parker's great-grandchildren, Ardith Lemming, Don Parker, and the late Ron Parker, who, for opening doors that really shaped the last Red Dirt Embrace. I should also add that Billy introduced me to a hard but good spiritual path that's changed my life. Thank you, and Chakuka Mia. Good night.
Okay, you've got to admit I got some pretty good arm candy with me, don't I? She looks great. I mean, tonight you are just and look at that jewelry. I bet that cost you a pretty penny, huh?
Well, Waddy, thank you for noticing, but it's on loan from Persimmon Hill. So it's available, the bracelet and this, you know, the beautiful gift shop that we have here at the museum. So thank you. We'll give them a big shout out. It's amazing. And they just remodeled the entire store. So if you haven't had a chance to stop by Persimmon Hill, this is your free advertisement right here. So make sure you stop by and check it out. And if you want this tonight, come to my table. I will gladly put it over your neck and take your credit card.
I've got to say just one little piece here. As I was growing up, I wanted to write like Bruce Giscadden. I wanted to be a horseman like, well, so many that I was able to be around. And I wanted to be an orator like Red Steagall, but I didn't get it done. And what I want you to know is that between Bobby Ingersoll and Red, and if you don't know Bruce Giscadden, look him up. They all are here tonight. Thank you.
Very good. Our next inductee into the Hall of Great Westerners is sponsored by Herman and LaDonna Minders. The inductee of this inductee is an Oklahoma luminary, a businessman with a focus on community impact, a cattle rancher, patron of the arts, and previous chairman of the museum's board of directors, and way, way, way so much more. Let's take a look.
Most of us know Bob Funk's accomplishments in Oklahoma over the past 53 years. He's founder and executive chairman of the board of Express Employment Professionals, which is now the fourth largest staffing company in the U.S. with $4.4 billion in revenue, employing over 7 million people to date. His Express Ranches is the largest registered beef producer in North America, and for the last 11 years has been named Angus Breeder of the Year. His proud sponsorships of America's first sport, the rodeo, include some of their greatest athletes like Stetson Wright and Billy Atbow. And his unwavering commitment to the youth of Oklahoma through Oklahoma Youth Expo and FFA. The lives he's touched in scholarships alone will ensure that generations to come will understand and embrace the key tenets that Bob lives by: hard work, integrity, and honesty. In addition to Bob's Western ideals and inherent values, his Christian faith is at the core of all his successes. Bob has always considered his work as a ministry. giving hope to millions through jobs that provide people security, self-esteem, and a sense of purpose. He often quotes author Zig Ziglar in saying that the best quality that a CEO can possess is humility. To know that it's okay to admit fault and to be confident enough to hire people smarter than you. And in that vein, Bob humbly admits that being in the lower half of his class made the upper half possible. Bob loves the spirit of the West, the people of Oklahoma, and the Cowboy Hall of Fame. I love the American West and all that it stands for. My best deals have been cemented by looking a colleague in the eye, offering a firm handshake, and understanding that a man's word is his commitment. Bob Funk's commitment to the preservation of Western values is evident throughout every aspect of his life, and that preservation will undoubtedly be one of his greatest legacies.
It is my great honor to induct into the Hall of Great Westerners Robert A. Funk, Sr.
Thank you very much, and I want to thank the committee and the board of directors for this magnanimous honor, and congratulate, of course, our fellow honorees here tonight for their great achievements as well. I've received many Hall of Fame inductions and many doctorate degrees, but nothing honorable as what we have here tonight. And this is a great evening for us, great evening for many of you, and most of all, a great evening for myself. And we thank you very much for the Great Westerners in this museum and what it has done not only for our community, but for the country as a whole. And I'm so thankful for the people who have been supportive with me as well. First of all, I want to thank my beautiful companion of 14 years, Janine. Would you stand, please? She's done a great job with someone who was homebound for a couple of years. But, thank you, Janine. Appreciate it. And ich liebe dich to you, Janine. That's a saying in German because we had our first date in Berlin, Germany, and it means I love you much. So thank you, Janine. I'd also like to thank my family for their unlying support through the many years and the blessings that they have provided for me. I wish my family would stand, if you will. I don't know if the lights are up or not, but family, would you stand? There are many of them here tonight. First of all, I'd like to thank my parents for the blessings that they have given me in life. My mother was a grocery store clerk, and she would be surprised if I'm here tonight. My dad was an unsuccessful farmer, and he would say, "I'll be darned." And my sister, my older sister is here tonight. She doesn't like for me to say that, but she is, and my mother had a nervous breakdown when I was young, and she semi-raised me, and I appreciate all that she's done for me. I would like to ask her to stand, but she's so short you couldn't see her around the... but thanks anyway, sis. Oklahoma Western Heritage attracted many of our great political leaders of our country and our state. And I want to thank a couple of people tonight. Former Governor George Nye. George, can you stand, please?
George is 95 years old and still going strong. And another former governor, Mr. Keating, would you please stand? They both believe in the values of this country and of the Western way of life, and we're so thankful for them. Both of their wives are ill tonight. They would be here as well, and we're grateful for them as well. But we're grateful that they provided such a great environment to have a better place to live, work, and play. My philosophy of living is that you're only as successful as the last person you've helped in your lifetime. And this last year, we helped about 600,000 people find jobs, and through the career of the company, about 7.5 million. And so I want to keep that going so that we can help more people find their satisfaction in life. And what a privilege to go home at night and know that you're helping 30 or 40,000 people a day find good jobs. And I believe it's because of the Western way of life that we are what we are. As they mentioned, we're in the cattle business as well. I love the cattle people because of their honesty, their integrity, and the values that they have. And that's exactly what this Cowboy Hall is all about, is believing in our Western heritage and the values that we have on a regular basis. And I'm really grateful for all of those who have helped me through life. Many of you here certainly have been a great inspiration and with Christian values, and it's eternalized, I think, in the values and the life of our children, and of course of our country and of our state. And I'm thankful that we can magnify the true Western heritage and the love and the compassion that comes from so many of you. Thank you for this magnanimous award, and I appreciate you very much, and God bless each one of you.
Boy, I wasn't nervous before, but now I'm starting to get a little nervous. I just texted Rip and said, man, it was just a joke. How y'all doing? Having a good time so far? All right, wonderful. Through film, we can easily be transported back to a particular moment or invoke a specific emotion to connect viewers. Our next set of winners have taken audiences along iconic journeys with both well-known individuals as well as some new faces. Here to present our next awards, please welcome actor and producer Robert Carradine and actor, writer, producer, and director Granger Hines.
Hello. How is everybody? That's what I thought. Our next category is sponsored by Mr. Michael J. Nicola, awarding a Wrangler for Outstanding Documentary.
The film tracks more than two-year odyssey of a Brazilian cowboy, adventurer, and journalist who embarked on an epic quest to ride from Calgary to his family home in Brazil. The young man battles intense heat, drought, speeding transport trucks, nature's wrath, and corrupt border guards on his history-making long ride home. Let's find out more.
We got a letter saying, denied, you have 15 days to leave the country. Ultimately, every cell in my body was telling me to get on that horse and ride home.
When Filipe told me he was gonna do Canada to Brazil, I didn't believe.
That's why 95% of the people who have ever written me never set off.
It just got stronger and stronger the older I got. I was very scared, very scared. Just convincing people that a 20-some-year-old kid who had no previous experience long riding could pull off one of the longest and most arduous rides of the 21st century.
Wow, huh? The Wrangler for Outstanding Documentary is awarded to the long rider. Accepting this word is the long rider himself, Filipe Masetti.
Wow. I just want to say I'm a kid from a small town in Brazil. And for me to be here today proves that if you have a dream and you're willing to work for it like a cowboy, absolutely nothing is impossible. I want to start out by saying thank you to the Western Heritage Committee and this amazing, extraordinary museum. This is a tremendous honor for me. I don't take this lightly, guys. I had a dream to cross the Americas on horseback. They said 2 years. For 8 years, I rode more than 16,000 miles across 12 nations, from Alaska to Ushuaia, Argentina. Although I was out there mainly by myself with my boys, my horses, this ride and this documentary would not have been possible without hundreds, if not thousands, of kind-hearted people. I would like to thank just a few tonight. My parents, who are watching right now all the way from Brazil, thank you. I am who I am today, thanks to your hard work. Thank you for teaching me to dream and to work hard. To my sisters, thank you so much for all your support. To my producers, Peter Hawken and Arnon Mello, the first people to believe in me, my family, thank you. Our amazing director, Sean Cisterna, who's in Cuba right now filming. Dana Pierce and Mike Nicola, two champions for this award in this film. Yes, please, big round of applause. And finally, we're cowboys, we're crazy, we don't know a lot of things, but every great cowboy's got an even greater woman by his side. The love of my life, my Flor del Pago, the woman that stole my heart in a wind-set village in Patagonia, Clara Victoria Davel. You make me better every single day. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And finally, the true reason why I'm standing here today. My 11 majestic horses, my heroes, my kids. And the horse is the true reason why we are all here today. The horse gave birth to the cowboy. The horse helped write history. And what I learned crossing the Americas at 3 miles an hour and 20 miles a day is that the horse is a common language that brings people together. Every day I needed to knock on a stranger's door and ask for help. No one ever denied me help. And out of all the doors that were open along the way, whether it was by a politician, a rancher, or sometimes a drug lord, those doors were open thanks to my beautiful horses. I discovered that the charro, the vaquero, the gaucho, o peão, o cowboy, we may dress differently. We may use different tools. We may even ride different breeds of horses, but we all share the same values and beliefs. We wake up early and sleep late to put food on people's tables. We are stewards of the land. We live for our animals. We speak the same language. Western heritage exists from Alaska to Argentina, and its future looks bright, thanks to this wonderful museum. Associations like the National High School Rodeo Association, which I was blessed to be a part of growing up, and the amazing artists being honored here tonight who continue to share stories about the West. All glory to God. Thank you so much.
That was a heck of a ride. The next Wrangler in the television and film category is for Outstanding Western Lifestyle Program, sponsored by Wagon Hound Land and Livestock Company and Art and Catherine Nicholas. In the episode, Red Steagall explores the life and personality of one of his favorite people, Reba McEntire. Let's take a closer look.
I like to think that people who grow up in an agricultural society are a little better grounded. What do you think about that?
Totally grounded, because you're dealing with something other than yourself. You're taking care of animals, so it's not all the attention on you. They depend on you to get fed, be taken care of. Well, I can't remember the rodeo announcer's name that said, any kid that has a horse, you'll never find that kid in trouble. And that's true, because they're busy taking care of something else other than their wants and wishes. It's very important. Being in the rodeo was a great way to grow up. Being on the ranch was a great way to grow up. I mean, we'd take off, and Mom would have to call us in for supper, and it was sometimes dark. And trying to get back to the house from the roping pen, down to the ditch, over the railroad track, and up the hill, and unsaddle and get in there for dinner. That's why I didn't know how to cook.
The Wrangler Award for Outstanding Western Lifestyle Program goes to Red Steagall. For Red Steagall. For Red Steagall, somewhere west of Rawl Street, Reba.
Oh, thank you so much. We had so much fun doing that show, but it was easy to do because I know so much about Reba and her family and her lifestyle and what she believes in. So it made it a lot easier to do an interview that she responded positively to. And I have so much fun with this show because we get to see people, places, and events all over the West, west of Wall Street. That's a lot of the country, isn't it? But we have so much fun, and I learn so much. You know, an award for an artistic endeavor like this means so much to the people who are creating the art. And every year we think, is that the best we can do? John Deere said in 1856, I will never put my name on a piece of product that's not as good as the best in me. So knowing that this award is going to be given to somebody who excels in the category that we're thinking about makes us want to work a little bit harder, be a little bit more precise, never get married to anything, make sure it's the best we can possibly do. That's what moves us forward. Mediocrity doesn't get us there. Excellence is the only way we progress. We're beginning an institute at the Texas Tech University called Red Steagall Institute for Traditional Western Arts, so we can go forward for future generations and explain to the world about the heritage, traditions, and values of a way of life that we hold dear. Because if we don't do that, if we don't continue to catalog it and keep it and involve people in it, it will go away because everything changes so fast in our society. The other place that that's done is right here. And in the vault of this beautiful facility, you'll find just about anything you want to know about the cowboy way of life because it's being preserved. So as long as we can preserve the arts through making people want to do a better job, see art through a different light, and make this the greatest nation on the face, continue to make this the greatest nation on the face of this earth, let's do it together. And I'd like for you to meet the folks who I work with on the show every day. My partner and the executive producer is Greg Brown. And the two people who operate the cameras most of the time, Jody Duggan and Khaki Holland. And then Bob and Johnny Terry do the editing and a lot of camera work. And excuse me, and the fellow who writes our scripts is one of the most unbelievable researchers I've ever known, Mr. Jim Jennings. And the lady who holds it together for all of us is in my office. I say this, you'd think I'm kidding, but I'm not. Gail and I got married on the 2nd of August, 1977. Debbie went to work for us on September the 1st of 1977. And if you think I don't have two wives hang around me for a while, you'll see that I don't get by with anything. But Debbie holds it together for all of us, and she is my assistant, and we depend on her to make sure the scripts are all right and in the right place, and we've got all the information we need to go film. We're so grateful to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum for allowing us to continue to compete within ourselves for excellence in the arts of the West. Thank you so much. We're grateful.
Our next award is sponsored by Mr. and Mrs. Wyatt McCrae and Mr. Brett Cummings and honors the outstanding theatrical motion picture.
Set in New Mexico, 1897, bounty hunter Max is hired to find a businessman's wife, Rachel, who's been captured for ransom. Max comes to find himself in an ethical conundrum upon finding Rachel and learning she willingly fled from her abusive husband. This was easier back when I was drinking whiskey. Anyway, as we follow Max, he's also faced with his recently released sworn enemy and outlaw who he imprisoned years prior. Let's see more.
I'm getting out of here next week. Serve my time.
I heard you've been telling people the first thing you were going to do when you walk out of here is get a gun, look me up.
I never killed nobody that wasn't trying to kill me.
Stay clear of me, Joe.
You do the same. Otherwise, most likely you're a dead man.
Senor Max Borland is a private investigator.
I wouldn't try anything foolish. Walk away from that gun.
Joe Cribbins.
What, you know? He's a dangerous man.
My whole life, I've done impulsive things. They don't always work out.
Mr. Borland, I doubt that you're familiar with Private Elijah Jones. He's taken a white woman, my wife, Rachel.
Elijah ain't abduct nobody. If she with Elijah, it's because she want to be.
I am willing to offer you $2,000 to bring Rachel back.
We did what we done, and we just saying to all of them, go straight to hell.
The Wrangler for Outstanding Theatrical Motion Picture is presented to Dead for a Dollar, writer and director, Walter Hill. Yeah.
Too kind, too kind. It was such a pleasure this morning. Flew in last night. I look over at breakfast, and I see Bobby Carradine. 44 years ago, I did my first Western, and Bobby was a very prominent actor in it. Before we started shooting, he came to me and thanked me for hiring him. And he said that he was going to give us Carradine acting and Carradine horsemanship. He's always been a confident fellow. And after one very particularly difficult horseback scene, I found myself standing next to one of the Wranglers. And I said to the Wrangler, I said, you know, I think Bobby's the best horseman in our cast. The Wrangler looked at me and said, well, hell, Walter, he can ride better than any of the Wranglers. So, well, anyway, it's great to see him. Thank you, Walter. You bet. Well, great to be here for Dead for a Dollar. My thanks to the Western Heritage Awards and to the good people of Oklahoma. Pleasure to be here, accept this award, in my case, for the third time. I'm a lucky guy, and on this one I was fortunate enough to have a splendid cast and crew to tell the story with. They put up with me with great patience, and I am eternally indebted to them. Obviously, I like Westerns. I think I've made 6 of them now. Obviously, I like Westerns. Obviously, all of you like Westerns. I believe they generally tell good stories that demonstrate self-reliance and proper ethical codes. I think we can use those in our country always. I'd like to thank Carolyn McMaster, our producer, who really made the film possible. Special thanks to my wife, Hildy, and my 2 daughters, who for many years have tolerated me with great fortitude. Again, I thank you, and I just finished a new script, and it's a Western. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage our next Wrangler presenters, Grammy Award-winning country music duo, Kix Brooks and Ronnie Dunn.
I'm Ronnie Dunn, I'm the introvert. So they put me on first so he can clean up. We're really honored to be here tonight to present the Western Visionary Award sponsored by the National Western Stock Show. Mr. and Mrs. Pat Grant and Molson Coors Beverage Company to our dear friend, for real, Pete Coors. This award recognizes an individual who's made a national impact in preserving the ideals of our Western values. Because this award is not presented annually, careful time and deliberation was made by the committee to select a worthy individual, and this award has only been presented to 2 other people, so they had plenty of time. KB?
Yep, and the honorees' professional career in the brewing business followed a Coors tradition, spanned more than a century, 5 generations of Coors family members. And we're really honored that our relationship with the company and Pete goes back a decade when Coors Brewing Company launched what would become a multi-year, very needed touring sponsorship for our little band. I gotta tell you, it was so cool for us, inspired by Michael Murphy's music for a long time, to come out and do his Route 66 song. And also very, very cool that Pete has the only family with a table long enough to be Route 66. There was a time in our career when I think I knew all of y'all. Y'all have expanded, by the way. Anyway, he's been a great friend to us. He's been a hunting buddy, an honorary band member. Whenever we needed a mean pair of spoons, a cowbell played during our shows.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
No, he disrupted the entire cowbell thing. When you see a T-shirt now that says, what, more cowbell?
It says no more cowbell since Pete played cowbell.
Stocking cowbells went way down.
Hey, let's learn a little bit more about the life of our Western Visionary Award recipient.
Colorado native Pete Coors grew up somewhere near Golden, Colorado. Over his nearly 50-year career at Coors Brewing Company, he held many positions, starting as trainee in waste management, being promoted to director of market research, and eventually earning the president and chairman titles. Under his leadership, Coors grew the distributorships from 1 to 8, and then spearheaded national and global expansion of the company. Currently, he serves as chairman of Molson Coors Beverage Company. In his younger life, Pete attended and graduated from the Phillips Exeter Academy, where he focused on his education. Then he attended Cornell University. He rode crew there, met his future wife, and received his bachelor's degree in industrial engineering. He went on to earn a master's degree in business administration from the University of Denver. Coors has a passion for the Western way of life and the code of the West and lives every day by these values. He's been a dedicated board member and loyal supporter of the National Western Stock Show for nearly 30 years. So it came as no surprise when he was tapped to serve as chairman of the stock show's first ever capital campaign, honoring the Legacy campaign. They reached their initial goal of $100 million, but they needed more. So in true code of the West fashion, Coors told everyone to saddle up because you always finish what you start, so they continue on. He also sits on many other boards, including the American Enterprise Institute, the Denver Art Museum Foundation, and the Adolph Coors Foundation. He is past president and trustee emeritus of the Denver Area Council of Boy Scouts of America, and a former national president and chairman of Ducks Unlimited. He is an avid outdoorsman and active in wildlife and water conservation. His professional career in the brewing business follows a Coors tradition that spans more than a century and a half and 5 generations. Coors cherishes the time he spends at his ranch with his family. He and his wife Marilyn continue that legacy with 6 children and 15 grandchildren, who affectionately call him Grande.
Go ahead.
So it gives us great pleasure to introduce this year's Western Visionary Award, Pete Coors.
Yeah, thanks, Kix and Ronnie. There simply aren't many people who are as blessed as I am to have friends like you. You guys are the best. I'd like to thank Pat Fitzgerald, the board of directors of the Cowboy, and the award selection committee. I'm humbled, I'm truly humbled by this recognition as I follow in some very big footsteps, including my dear friends Phil Anschutz and Foster Fries. And I just want to quickly say how humbling it is to be here with all the other awardees. Congratulations to each of you as well. Now, please, if you'll indulge me just for a second, I'd like to share just a few words on what is truly tonight one of the proudest occasions of my life. And as I look over that life, there are 4 basic foundations that have served as my guiding lights: family, friends, faith, and our Western heritage. To my family, I'm truly blessed by the support of my family, including my incredible wife, Marilyn, our 6 kids. They're not really kids anymore. Their spouses and 15 grandchildren. Maybe if we could have the lights up, the grandkids can stand up. I've got most of them here. They may not be quite tall enough, but I love them dearly and so happy that they could be with us. I could never have accomplished what I have been able to accomplish without this wonderful family, your support, your patience, and your love. Thank you all very much. To my friends, I've been blessed with incredibly talented, interesting, energetic, and supportive friends. They've enriched my life in countless ways. No man has ever been luckier than I have in that regard, and a special thank you to so many of my dear friends who've made the trip down here to Oklahoma City to be here and celebrate with me. Words can't really convey how much your presence means to me. Thank you guys, all of you, guys and gals. As to my faith, I stand before God, whose abiding and patient love has enabled me to be a better person and to be the man who stands before all of you tonight. And to our beloved Western heritage, My destiny was to be in the bear business rather than riding and roping. I've tried that and wasn't very good at it. But there are some days I still do dream of being a cowboy. Thankfully, you don't need to be a full-time cowboy to follow the code of the West, so artfully captured by Jim Owens. It is, and always has been, the backbone of my life philosophy. Basically, knowing right from wrong and that there is no room for gray, and living the ideal that a handshake is all that's needed to seal a deal. I want to tell a little story about a friend of mine who happens to be in the audience tonight. 37 years ago, we made a business agreement between our company and his. The contract was 1 page. He didn't even read it. I told him I was excited to be working with him, but that if either one of us had ever had to pull out that contract, our deal probably would be ended. Today, that contract is 56 pages. Now, not to insult any of the attorneys in this room, and I'm sure there might be some, but that deal is really still more than just a 1-pager. It's looking someone in the eye and shaking hands, and we have subsequently spilled a lot of ink and paid for our share of billable hours, but our agreement has never changed. I like to carry the code of the West with me every day. And in case you would, too, I would as well, I'm pleased that you can keep these with you. It's a great message. Thank you, Jim Owens, for giving us this kind of little handy way to live a great Western life. And in closing, let me again express my deep gratitude for this incredibly great honor. And let me invoke a notion which, as much as the legacy and the code, longer than the code of the West for sure. We're called to love others as we love ourselves. We're called to treat each other as we would like to be treated. That's where the code of the West ultimately comes from, I think, and I sincerely believe that if we endeavor to live our lives in ways that reflect the code of the West and the golden rule at its heart, we will, through example, the examples we set project the legacies of both into the future generations that are so important. And I think that's visionary and truly something worth contemplating and celebrating. Thank you again, and may God bless all of you.
Please welcome actor and 2018 Hall of Great Western Performers inductee, Barry Corbin, and actor and 2017 Hall of Great Western Performers inductee, Patrick Wayne.
No, it's good. Okay. We're good. I got a surprise for everybody. I was watching the Comancheros the other night, and you can stop that movie in the middle. Well, Patrick is going to save everybody, and he gets killed by an Indian. Well, you stop that right there, and he's the Indian that comes up and kills himself. Darndest thing you ever saw. Well,
the secret's out.
Tonight we add another member to the Hall of Great Western Performers with the support of Mary Elizabeth Haley Thompson Foundation. The king of Western swing himself, Bob Wills. He was a renowned musician and a performer his whole life.
He was an integral part of multiple bands, but most notably, the Texas Playboys, a dance band with a country string section that popularized the Western swing genre. Let's take a look at his legendary life.
James Robert Wills was born on March 6, 1905, near Cossie, Texas. The oldest of 9 siblings in a family surviving on musical talents and cotton farming, Wills absorbed music from his heritage of champion fiddlers. He played fiddle and mandolin, and with playmates in the cotton camps of Turkey, Texas, shared a passion for horns, rhythm, and the movement of rural blues. In addition to picking cotton, he performed at house dances with his family and delighted in horse racing, training mules, and all things cowboy. In 1929, he traded cotton fields for the city of Fort Worth. In time, he originated the legendary Light Crust Doughboys. In the mid-30s, Wills organized his own band and built a popular radio show in Waco, Texas. It was his next move that proved to be his glory years. He moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and from 1934 to 1942, powerhouse radio station KVOO became home to Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys. On New Year's night in 1935, Wills and his Texas Playboys debuted at Kane's Ballroom, and the venue was soon, and still is known, as the house that Bob built. In a career spanning 5 decades, Wills toured nationally, from California's Hollywood studios to Nashville's Grand Ole Opry. His contributions continue to be recognized with more than 15 national honors, like his induction into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 1968. Wills recorded a prolific list of songs, including Faded Love and San Antonio Rose. Today, he is credited for uniquely popularizing the American art form that combines jazz, blues, big band swing, mariachi, gospel, and frontier fiddle music, and will always be remembered as the king of Western swing.
Our newest posthumous inductee into the Hall of Great Western Performers, Bob Wills. Accepting on his behalf is his daughter, Carolyn Wills.
Okay, we'll see if I can do this. For our family and for all who love Bob Wills, and I know there are those of you here tonight, we would like to thank the National Western Heritage Hall of Fame for honoring Bob Wills as a great Western performer. I would like to acknowledge that we have Bob Wills' granddaughter, my niece Andrea Ruby, here too, and if she could stand up, that would be wonderful. Thank you. So, Texas Playboy Al Strickland once said, "That man had magic. He could turn you on and make you want to perform the impossible." And Ray Benson adds, "Bob Wills was a stylish Western rogue. As outrageous as his onstage dancing, hollering, and strutting were, he led the band in a presentation that was downright orchestral and always electrifying." I know if he were here tonight, I'm a crier, I know if he were here tonight, my father would be honored and humbled. He would lift his hat and salute to everyone. In fact, he might, as he was known to do, ride his stallion Punkin across the room and up on the stage to say, "Thank you the Bob Wills way." On his behalf, and from deep within our hearts, thank you for this truly great honor.
Sponsored by Hall Capital, our final film and television award tonight is for Outstanding Fictional Drama. Taking place in 1971, 2 Navajo police officers band together to solve a barrage of seemingly unrelated crimes in their community. Together they face down evil forces, both earthly and supernatural.
2 people were murdered at the motel last night.
So no leads, no idea who may have done such a terrible thing.
Seeketh, and ye shall findeth, saith the Lord.
You hear about this armored car robbery? We're talking about a double homicide. We're talking about both. The witness,
What'd she have to say?
there might have been 2 men, but you can't ID them. I saw something last night. It was real.
Real is in the eye of the beholder.
Oh. For outstanding fictional drama, the Wrangler goes to the episode titled Monster Slayer, which is season 1, episode 1 of the series Dark Winds. Accepting the award is writer Graham Rowland.
Thank you for that introduction. Good evening. Thank you to the Western Heritage Awards for this honor and for hosting us tonight. As someone who was born and grew up about 100 miles south of here in Ardmore, Oklahoma, it's a great privilege to come back to my home state and accept this award. I cannot accept this award for Dark Winds, the show, without acknowledging the men with whom it all started. First, Tony Hillerman. Before Tony made his home the Southwest and wrote the novels that inspired our series, he was born and grew up here in Oklahoma as well. The long, winding road to bring Tony's work to the screen began with Robert Redford, who fought hard for decades to adapt these books. To give you an idea of how long that fight was, when Bob first optioned Tony's books, I was 7 years old. That was a long time ago. Mr. Redford found an ally in that fight in another writer and a friend of Tony's and a champion of his work, Mr. George R.R. Martin. Without them, there would be no Dark Winds. Thank you to Chris Eyre for directing a beautiful pilot episode, and thank you to Zahn McLarnon, Kiowa Gordon, Jessica Matten, and all of our dedicated cast and crew who have the hardest job of all, which is bringing the words that I and others write to life on the screen. Thank you to my fellow executive producers, Vince Calandra and Tina Elmo, for their hard work and contributions to the episode and to the season being honored here tonight. Thank you to John Worth, our amazing showrunner who's also here with me tonight, and our incredibly talented group of writers who have carried this story forward and produced a show that I am extremely proud of. Thank you to the Navajo Nation. We could not do this show without you. Thank you to Dan McDermott, Emma Miller, Ben High, and everyone at AMC for believing in our show. When we took this show out, those of you who work in this business, we got a lot of no's and we got one yes, and that one yes came from Dan McDermott at AMC, and that's why we have the show that we have today. And thank you to our fans for watching and getting us to a second season and hopefully many more. And thank you to my wife, Carly, for her love and support. And thank you all for hosting us this evening and making this a night I won't forget. Thank you all.
For our final induction of the evening, please welcome New York Times best-selling author of the Longmire Mysteries, Craig Johnson, and Vice Chairman of the Museum Board, Wyatt McCrae.
All right, we're bringing it home, Craig.
We are. It's our turn.
It'll be good. Sponsored by Leslie Rainbolt, our final award of the night inducts one more individual into the Hall of Great Western Performers. With notable roles in early films such as La Bamba, Stand and Deliver, and Young Guns, to his more recent television series success in Longmire.
What was that again?
Longmire.
Thank you.
And Prodigal Son. He has earned more than 150 film and television credits in his almost 40-year acting career. You know, the last time he was here, I gave him a paper Whataburger hat as a parting gift.
You did.
I did.
You did.
You know, so the stakes are a little higher.
They are a little higher, like that. But he did get, I think it was like Employee of the Month, though.
That's right. I think so. Yeah.
His dynamic portrayals, both on screen and on Broadway, have earned him critical acclaim, Emmy, Golden Globe, Tony nominations, as well as a Wrangler Award. But I believe that was because there was a nice close-up of his rear in the film. I think it was what it was. So anyway, let's take a look closer at our legendary and wonderful inductee.
Though he was raised in small-town Texas, Lou Diamond Phillips had stars in his eyes from a young age. He attended the local University of Texas at Arlington, where he got his Bachelor of Fine Arts in Drama. He found his footing acting in theater at the Stage West in Fort Worth. His breakthrough came when he starred as Richie Valens in the biographical drama film La Bamba. For the film Stand and Deliver, Phillips was nominated for a Golden Globe Award and won an Independent Spirit Award. He also enjoyed mainstream success with the film Young Guns. Recent film credits include the Amblin feature Easter Sunday, Warner Brothers' The 33, Created Equal, directed by Bill Duke, and Sundance Festival favorite Philly Brown, for which he was named Best Actor at the Imagen Awards. He received an Emmy nomination for Outstanding Actor in a Short-Form Drama or Comedy for his roles in both Amazon's Conversations in L.A. and History Channel's Crossroads of History. As a director, Phillips recently helmed episodes of shows appearing on Fox, ABC, and AMC. Notable titles include Fear the Walking Dead, Prodigal Son, and Longmire. He is also an author. His novel, The Tinderbox, Soldier of Indira, with illustrations by his wife Yvonne, was published in October 2020. He has co-written the screenplays for Trespasses and HBO's Dangerous Touch. He wrote the Miramax feature Ambition. He produced his play Burning Desire, a romantic comedy in 2 acts, which received its world premiere at the Seven Angels Theater in Waterbury, Connecticut. Whether stage, screen, or script, Phillips continues to delight audiences with his dedication to his craft.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor, pleasure to induct into the Hall of Great Western Performers award-winning actor, director, and writer, Mr. Lou Diamond Phillips.
Oh, come on now, sit down. Wow. Man. You know, you're getting introduced by Craig. Thank you for coming out here. I have one thing to say to that. It is a beautiful day at the Red Pony and Continual Soiree. This is Henry speaking. There's a few Longmire fans out there, so God bless you. Thank you so much. And just right off the bat, I know this was Wyatt's idea. He owes me for putting a freaking Whataburger hat on my head. So this is just payback. I appreciate that so much. And I have to say, I'm ridiculously honored and humbled. Thank you to the National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum, to all the board members, to all of you who have brought me back, because I've been here a time or two and hopefully didn't embarrass you too much. And it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me, especially because I usually represent the Indians. I mean, right, Mo? You know? So, you know, we get a chance to do that every once in a while. Also, just really quick, I want to say a special thank you to Joe Layden and everybody at Cowboys and Indians for that incredible article and spread. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. Thank you, Mr. Joe. I appreciate it. This man has given me some good reviews, so, man, I owe him, you know. So I said, come to Oklahoma City and get a free dinner. Come on, dude. As I said, I was very proud to quite often represent the native point of view, although I have worn the cowboy hat on many occasions, getting to play the cowboy and the white guy, you know, which is a good thing. But I think I would be remiss to not pay special respect and homage to a lot of the native men and women who helped me along the way, who validated me and endorsed me and guided me, many of whom I believe are Wichashawakan, holy people, starting with Buddy Redbow, on Young Guns with John Fusco. John Fusco introduced him, and he was such a guide to me. And Wayne Eagleboy, both Lakota from the Pine Ridge and Porcupine and Rosebud reservations that I was able to visit. On the Dark Wind, Irvin So, who was the youngest, at the time, the youngest medicine man on the big reservation in Tuba City in Navajo. And when I had the honor of playing Jim Chi, Irvin So was my guide in that. Throughout the years, Floyd Red Crow Westerman, 10 Bears from Dances with Wolves, got to play my father once, and was such a touchstone for me in that. Tantu Cardinal, obviously, Zon McLaren and Graham Greene, and then most recently being able to represent the Cheyenne Nation, and my dear friend Marcus Red Thunder, who I met going up to the Lame Deer Reservation, and he introduced me to my brother Tiger Scalp Cane. So to all of the Native people who have infused and imbued my performances, I thank them, because without them there would be no authenticity, and I appreciate that. And like I said before, I've gotten to play the cowboy too, and my buddy Craig over here, he said something today that really resonated with me, and I feel it's very true, that I'm a conduit between the past and the present. That I've been one of those people who have been able to be a bridge between some of the greats. I have worked with some incredibly great Western performers, and like I said, standing up here tonight is really humbling me. My buddy Barry Corbin and Patrick, Wayne, both of whom I've worked with, it's such an honor. But going back to Jack Palance and Brian Keith and Terrence Stamp, oh my goodness, James Coburn, my dear friend Ernest Borgnine that I did a film with Lee Majors with, those guys were legends. And I was a sponge learning from them and wanting to carry on this incredible tradition that's brought us all here together tonight, And to be called a great Western performer means a lot, because there are a lot of people who do Westerns, some who shouldn't. I mean, you can put on the hat, but sometimes it just don't play. And, it's got to come from within. You got to have that thing. It's not about how you dress, or the costume or anything else like that. It really comes from a place inside to be able to play these characters, And when I had touchstones like many people that I've mentioned, that imbued me with, a certain amount of desire to get it right. Because it's been a tradition of mine. I was born in the Philippines and, Navy brat, grew up mostly in Texas, though. So the Western tradition has been a part of my childhood for a very, very long time. I mean, Gunsmoke and Bonanza and Wanted Dead or Alive and The Rifleman, and, they were always on our television. And whenever I had a chance to, we'd go to the movies and we'd see the latest John Wayne or the latest Clint Eastwood or the latest Steve McQueen. And, I was always watching these amazing performances and dreaming of the day when maybe I could do something like that. And I looked at these heroes. And I've said it before in press, these are our morality tales. These are our tales of knights in shining armor. This is our tapestry of good versus evil, of right versus wrong. And it's what we stand for. It's what we try to represent in our own lives, And thank you. You have to understand that when you put on the clothes and you do it, And so I looked at all this heroism, and it was easy for me to aspire to that because there were some basic tenets, You say what you mean and you mean what you say. Your handshake is your bond. I mean, Pete, that whole code of ethics, thing of the West, That's fantastic. You know, it's very, very true. It's in the words I lived by. All the way. By the way, I forgot. I'm gonna go back. Stacy Keach, who I worked with, who got to play my dad in another Western, and Bobby Carradine. Walter, I literally said this yesterday. Long Riders is one of the best Westerns ever made. Okay, and Bobby's a friend, and I've worked with Stacy. And if you've just written a Western, buddy, I'm available. You know, but my point was that all of these aspirational, you know, tenets to live up to, you know, look them in the eye and tell them the truth, and you know, never back down from a fight, and do what is right, you know, stand up and do what is right. All of these things that go into playing a Western character was easy for me, to be quite honest, because it's what I learned at home. And the person that took me to all those Western movies and made me sit there and watch all those Western TV shows and was always a supporter and a fan, and even when I said I wanted to be an actor, I went, well, okay, you know, was my dad. And my dad was the man who instilled in me everything that has brought me to this stage tonight. So please give it up for George Phillips. Thanks, Dad. You bet. You bet. Man, yeah, he's the reason I'm here tonight. And I'm so thrilled for the opportunity to have brought him and to publicly thank him and to, you know, to look at that journey that it took to get here. And we're not done yet, you know, we're not done yet. One of the other things that I learned from my Native friends, and it's a phrase that I've lived with my entire life. Well, you know, ever since I did Renegades. Worked with a great, you know, Red Crow Westerman, Gary Farmer. Was reading a book, and the quote I take from that is, "The warrior walks humbly upon the earth." And this is what I've always tried to do. And I'm asking all of us to be warriors, and I'm asking all of us to remember, you know, our humility. But, you know, as been said a few times tonight, to live with compassion, and to live with kindness, and to live with understanding. Because those are true heroic qualities, and to you know, to go forward, you know, with some thought. I also have to say, and I hope you guys don't mind, I couldn't stand up here without, you know, also, you know, saying something that I believe in and that I believe is necessary. Take it for what you will. I have worked for many, many years with special needs kids. I have a child who is also on the autistic spectrum. And I would ask you, if your heart speaks to you, to talk to your representatives, and please reconsider the corporal punishment for special needs kids. Because our special needs children, they don't need the rod. They need our love, our support, our help, and our compassion. So, you know, think about that. And if, you know, like as I said, if it speaks to you, talk to somebody about it. Thank you. Thank you to the Western Heritage Museum. Thanks to all of you. I hope to be back. I'll come back and present anytime. And God bless you all. Thank you.
Lou Diamond Phillips, folks. Give him another big round of applause. Many nights I held a blade to your throat. I'm glad I didn't kill you, Steve. My wife reminded me of that quote. Young Guns is one of her favorite shows, and I tell you what, when I watched Young Guns and I saw you in there, and that character was amazing. You did a great job, and it was very inspirational. And so, again, congratulations once again to all of tonight's honorees and inductees. Let's give them another big round of applause, folks. You know, when I was a little boy growing up on a reservation in South Dakota, no running water, no electricity. And I tell you what, those were the best days of my life because all we had was horses. And there was few ways of transportation on the res. Of course, you know, we couldn't afford gas money to go anywhere. We lived way out we were so country. My little brother and I would put on our Halloween costume, would run around the house, and would knock on our own door. That's how country we were. And, so dirt roads, literally, truly dirt roads, almost like powder. So we couldn't ride our bikes, and you definitely didn't want to walk if you went to go see your buddies who were miles away. So we'd go out on foot, corner the horses, and try to work our way in one at a time to catch a horse and bring them out, and then we'd ride bareback. And I remember watching Western movies, and I saw them guys on how elegant they were and how amazing they looked and smooth they were on horseback. And I knew, being an Indian, I probably couldn't be a cowboy. So I thought, I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And then come along Howard Hunter, Sr., one of the most amazing saddle bronc riders from Kyle, South Dakota, a true horse whisperer, who showed me that it's okay to be Indian and you can be cowboy. And so I embraced it. You know, I went to work as a ranch hand, and I took the most difficult jobs, the crappiest jobs, and I knew it had nothing to do with the color of my skin or the length of my hair. They were just teaching me and giving me the opportunity to have the right to wear this. And so I'm thankful for each and every one of those individuals who taught along the way. I'm thankful to each and every one of you in this room, from amazing actors to amazing individuals who are keeping this wonderful, wonderful heritage alive. And our storytellers, keep writing those stories. You know, from my relative, my Hunka relative, Michael Martin Murphy, thank you. You've always been an inspiration, and I truly mean that. And to Brooks and Dunn, I can ride, rope, hammer, and paint. I learned that very well. You know, and what I love about this heritage is it's about work. It's always about work. The work never ends. You know, we start our day before the sun even comes up. We end our day well after the sun goes to rest. And I love it so much that it's really not work. It's a passion. And I look around this room and I see amazing human beings. Not just cowboys, but also cowgirls. And everyone's giving a shout out to their wives, so I want to say thank you, Sarah Ann, for putting up with me. But this concludes our 62nd Western Heritage Awards. We hope you will join us next year as we continue honoring individuals who have made significant contributions to the history and culture of the American West. Thank you and good night.
high boots, Stetson hat, and a leather vest. Cowboy, great American cowboy, with a horse and a rope and a gun.